European leaders are condemning Russia after a drone crashed into an apartment block in the Romanian city of Galați, close to the border with Ukraine. Fragments of Russian drones have fallen on Romanian territory many times, but this is the first time citizens of the NATO member state have been hurt. 2 people were injured and around 70 people evacuated after the drone blast caused a fire. Bucharest has accused Moscow of a serious and irresponsible escalation and summoned the Russian ambassador. The head of NATO says that Russia's reckless behaviour is a danger to us all and assured absolute solidarity with Romania. Well, let's speak to our correspondent Nick Thorpe, who joins us from neighbouring Hungary. Nick, tell us all of the details about this strike and the Romanian response to it.
Sure. Well, as far as we understand, about 2 o'clock this morning, this drone was first detected, and within 4 minutes of the Romanian security forces detecting it, it struck a 10-storey block of flats in Galați. This is a significant port city, 200,000 or so inhabitants, and in the subsequent explosion and fire. So this was not just a fragment of a drone as we've seen before, but actually an armed drone which exploded on impact, injuring a 54-year-old woman and a 14-year-old child. The Romanians, in their response, the deputy head of the armed forces said this does not constitute an attack on Romania, but it's the consequence of an attack on neighbouring Ukraine.
And the response has been widespread, hasn't it, from NATO allies and also European Union officials?
That's right. Mark Rutte, the head of NATO, immediately rang Nicu Jordan, the Romanian president. There have been other messages also from other EU and NATO countries. The president of Romania, Nicu Jordan, has summoned a meeting which is beginning as we speak now of the Supreme Defence Council, and the Russian ambassador has been summoned. I mean, he's been summoned before. He normally gets a rap on the wrists, as it were. I think there is some talk, unofficially in Romania this time, of needing a much stronger response, perhaps even the expulsion of the Russian ambassador from Bucharest. But I think that's a move that Romania would not take on its own. Obviously, strong consultations between Romania this morning and NATO and EU allies.
And as far as the target of this, if it is indeed a target, is concerned, Galați is an important port for Romania.
That's right. It's on the river Danube, and the Danube here, or in the Delta region, Danube Delta region nearby on the Black Sea, obviously is the border with Ukraine and further up with Moldova. This is a regular site of attacks. The port of Reni and of Ismail on the Ukrainian side of the border has been hit many times before. The cargo infrastructure, the grain infrastructure, the port infrastructure. But actually the nearest Ukrainian target is 18 kilometers from the site of this explosion in Galați this morning. So this is suggesting that it wasn't just a stray drone, and some people on the Romanian military side this morning wondering if this is the Russians testing Romania and therefore NATO's defence capabilities and what they actually do in such a case, whether they would invoke Article 5, the mutual defence, mutual protection clause of the NATO treaties, or whether it's they will take a calmer attitude to it.
Nick, for the moment, thank you very much. Nick Thorpe, our correspondent in Hungary. Let's speak to military analyst and host of the BBC Security Brief, Mikey Kay. Mikey, what are your initial observations about this drone incident in Romania?
Yeah, hi, Marty. I think I'm just going to pick up really firstly on the NATO Article 5 piece, and I think it's important. NATO's Article 5 effectively is an attack on one, is an attack on all, and it's collective self-defence. But there is an important part in that language about that, which is it has to be a sustained attack. So a one-off wouldn't necessarily invoke Article 5. And I think this is so far from what we've seen is a one-off. Now, you know, Russia's been putting these one-way attack drones, they're called the Geran 2, which is effectively a blueprint from the Iranian Shahed 136, which we've seen flying in the Persian Gulf airspace. They're putting about 6,500 of these on Ukraine every month. In April, it was 6,500, which is a significant amount. And Ukraine has become incredibly adept. We were talking about this on the security brief last week, which was all about Ukrainian drone technology. And the Ukrainians have developed what's called a counter uncrewed aerial system counter threat, which are taking out around 89 to 93% of these drones that are coming over into their airspace, which is a significant amount. So the questions I would start asking are, where was this launched from? And if you look at sort of the geography of it, I think looking at the Crimea, I think it would probably have been a launch from Crimea to start with. The other thing, sort of big questions I've got as well, is there were 2 Romanian F-16s. I think we've got a visual of 2 F-16s actually that we can bring up, but effectively the US F-16 jet, the Iranians have them, and they were on what's called QRA, which is Quick Reaction Alert. Now, the press statement that's come out from the Romanians said that the radar systems of Romania were tracking this drone as it approached Romanian airspace, and the 2 F-16s were launched at about 1:20 in the morning. So there's a couple of questions like that, Martine, in terms of the response. If the radar was tracking this drone and the F-16s were airborne, the F-16s would carry an air-to-air missile, which would be able to take it out. Why didn't they do that? And there's a couple of answers to that, really. These drones, they fly incredibly low, down to about 50 feet over territory. And if that drone, when it enters Romanian airspace, is over a built-up area, that's going to be hard for the F-16s to shoot that down. Now, the process of using an F-16 to shoot down a drone as well is not an easy procedure. The drones fly at around 120 miles an hour. An F-16 isn't supposed to be in the 120-mile-hour envelope. So the F-16s would have to be slow, they'd have to be close. And the F-16, I don't know if you've got that visual up, I don't have two-way here, but it's got a huge intake on the bottom of the aircraft, which will suck in any debris if the F-16 gets too close. So that could be a consideration. The other consideration as well is there's a lot of electromagnetic interference. It's called jamming and spoofing that the Ukrainians have developed. So it is a possibility and a thought. And a question I would certainly ask is that if the Ukrainians were jamming and certainly jamming in that area, and jamming means basically putting out electromagnetic waves into the atmosphere that would interfere with that drone's guidance system. That could also be a possibility in terms of the drone being put off its target because of this electromagnetic interference. So there's a lot of questions about this that I'd be asking, or I will be asking.
And we will come back to you when you've got the answers. Mikey, thank you very much, Mikey Kay.
Thanks, Martin.
Andreea Georgescu is a journalist with Romanian national news TV channel Digi24, and she has more details about the drone incident.
The incident was reported last night. It was almost 2 o'clock, and the first calls that were made for the emergency system in Romania reported large fire on the last level of a 10-story building, apartment building in Galați. It's one of the cities, major cities in eastern Romania. It is very close to our eastern border with the Republic of Moldova, with Ukraine, and the first saviors that got there have taken the measures, have evicted the building, and then 2 people were taken to the hospitals. They are injured, slightly injured. They are safe now. We are talking about a woman, a 53-year-old woman, and her son, her 14-year-old son. They are both okay. We have just heard from medics in 2 hospitals in Galați that have stated that they are okay, they are safe, but they will be remaining under careful medical supervision in order for them to be okay. There is an investigation ongoing. Then there in Galați, there are militaries, there specialist experts, police officers. They are gathering all the drone fragments because they have to officially gather all the fragments in order to the investigation to state officially what has been already stated, that we are talking about a Russian drone that had been carrying military equipment and explosives that has led to this very serious incident. As you were saying, it is the most serious incident that has happened in Romania since the large-scale invasion of Russia in Ukraine more than 4 years ago.
Andreea Georgescu from Digi24 in Romania. Well, you can read more about this story on our live page. Go to bbc.co.uk/news and you'll find all of the updates there.